We're here at the next video on my channel, Goalball Tournaments, portrayed by Ernst Kreusel. Today we have the next interview, this time for the USA Women's Goalball team. And the video about the USA is already available on my channel. And now we have the interview to this team. And we will talk with Amanda Dennis. And yeah, Amanda, at first, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And I will start with the first question, and that's about the preparations of your team, of the USA Women's Goalball team. And the question is how your preparations are going.
Yeah, our preparations are going really well. We have been together here in Fort Wayne for a really long time. We've had our resident program since 2017. And so all of us, all 6 members of our team have been able to have the opportunity to train together here and have available resources like strength and conditioning from our coaching staff, some sport nutrition, and some sport psychology to kind of help round everything off for Tokyo. The last 6 months or so, we've all been training pretty hard together, having goals and trying to achieve them while we're here to excel in Tokyo.
Okay, yeah. Then the next question, also about this topic. And you know, the COVID pandemic changed a lot in the whole world. And how does the COVID pandemic change your preparations? As far as I know, the US never had really hard lockdowns, like, for example, here in Germany. But yeah, how does it change your preparations, the COVID pandemic?
Yeah, so the US locked down from May to July. And so the players were not able to train from May 2020 until July of 2020. And so our coaching staff and strength and conditioning coaches gave us kind of a plan, a workout program that we were supposed to be doing at home. And in the first month in May, a lot of us were actually here in Fort Wayne training at home. And I guess you could say even it started in April because we were doing some of the home workouts in April, but we were really not able to take on training on the goalball court in May, June, and then some of July. So we were doing these home workouts instead with some of the resources that were available to us. We got some weight training equipment brought to the houses here so that we were able to use that. And once July came here and we were able to reassess the situation, they put some measures into place and a hygiene concept here in Fort Wayne where the players were able to continue on training here and everybody was able to meet together. And one really great thing about Fort Wayne is that it's kind of a bubble. So everybody here lives together, everybody trains together, you're exposed to the same people every day. So the risk of going out into a public place and getting COVID was really low. So that's kind of built into the hygiene concept. You could get groceries delivered or whatever delivered, and you weren't exposed to the general public. So that made it easier for us to continue training and have a minimal lockdown.
And how do you think about the postponement of the games? Do you think that's a disadvantage or do you think that's an advantage for you?
Personally, I think the postponement of the games can be looked at in a lot of ways. You know, we all planned our lives around that 4-year quad that we were planning on, you know, maybe moving somewhere or having a dog, like getting a dog or a children or who knows, retiring in any case. And the retirement or the postponement of the games in general, I think it was a good decision by the IPC to postpone the games with the global pandemic happening and the risk of people getting really sick and potentially having fatal losses because of it. I think that in general, when you look at the entire situation as a whole, It was great that they were able to come out with a vaccine in so many places, and that a lot of people were able to get that distributed to their athletes so that when we do go into Tokyo, we're better protected. And as far as our team is concerned, I actually think it was a pretty good advantage to having the pandemic. And also, well, actually, not an advantage to having the pandemic, but it was an advantage to have the extra year to train, because we were able to look at our 2019 year, the beginning of 2020, and then kind of hone in on a couple of small details to be able to change. And a lot of our players, because there was not access to goalball in some cases, were able to focus more on getting stronger weightlifting wise, or focusing on really small details to be able to change. And then when when we joined each other and recommenced, there were so many really great things that we saw, and we're like, wow, like, look at you can throw a lot faster than you did before, or look at that defense, that's like so much better. It was really the small things that we had to look into changing that made us a lot stronger. And without the extra year, we would have been a good team, but we wouldn't be as good as we are right now.
Yeah, that sounds fine. And now we come to the next topic, and that's about your goals at the Paralympic Games. What are your goals as Team USA at the Paralympic Games in Tokyo?
So we always look at the Paralympics as kind of a step-by-step process. So we look at pool play as one step. That's step one. We look at quarterfinals as step two, semis as step three, and finals as step four. And we only look at these steps one step at a time. Ultimately, I think every team there, their goal is to get a gold medal and to walk away with one. But you have to have the right preparations to do so. You can't be thinking, 3 steps ahead when you're only on step one. And so our actual goal is to take everything step by step, look at it as it is in plain sight, in current views, and then try to achieve a gold medal in Tokyo.
Okay, but if you look, for example, on my personal predictions, I predicted that you will win the bronze medal in the end. And do you agree with that?
I think when you're looking at things, you look at past, the way things were in the past, and you also have to realize that teams change over time, that teams get better and worse. They get, new players that make teams get a little bit different. Teams train in any case to change. Obviously, I don't know your predictions, but I did see your predictions for the Bundesliga, and they were not correct. So I also have to say that, things can change, and, teams can kind of slide up and down as that goes along. And tournaments are a lot about the preparations, the skills of the players, and just a little bit of luck. And so, the predictions are really great, but a lot of the time they don't actually end up coming to fruition in the end. So you kind of have to go in there thinking that you're an underdog and then outperform everybody.
Yeah, that's true, that you can't plan for 100%. That's the thing I love in sport, that you can't calculate it for 100%. And yeah, you say you want to have a gold medal, and if you look on the other teams at this competition, who will be your hardest opponent to reach the gold medal?
So our team doesn't place any teams on pedestals. So when we're looking at teams, we're like, oh no, we're not saying like, oh no, there's this team, or oh no, there's that team. We say every team is a really great opponent to us, no matter who you are or what level you are. We look at every single team the same. We're not saying that one team is way harder than the other with playing. We just take it step by step. So every team there is going to be, one of our hardest opponents. And each game is going to be one of our hardest games. So we're not looking at the hardest opponents. We're looking at it game by game.
Okay, then we come to another topic, and that's your personal goals. If you only look on the person Amanda Dennis, what do you want to reach at the Paralympic Games if you only look on yourself?
If I only look at myself, I see a lot of growth over this 5-year period that we've had. I was a starter in Rio, but I also wasn't a huge part of the success of the team. I was just there. I wasn't looked at by the other players as a leader or as somebody who was important. I could be somewhat replaceable. And going into Tokyo, my main goal is to help lead the team to greater successes. I got 3 goals in Rio, and I'm hoping to make more than 3 goals in Tokyo as far as an offense projection or an offensive goal. And I want to be able to help my team, in moments where they need it the most, and overall to be a really good teammate.
Okay, you talked about you want to score many goals, but you also have to tell that you're a center player. And for a center player, it's not usual in goalball that he's willing to throw many goals. He's the one to help the defense. And for some nations, for example, Lithuania or also Ukraine, the big nations, the center don't throw as much. And why do you want to take a huge offense role in the team?
Yeah, so I think that's a lot of things that teams are missing by choosing that their center shouldn't throw or choosing that their center should only block and pass off. They're missing an opportunity. One of the places that has higher goal percentages is players throwing out of the middle, because teams shift to the left or shift to the right depending on how the defense is. And if you're playing or throwing out of the middle, your holes are open further, the corners are open, the gaps are open. And so it gives teams a huge advantage to have somebody who can throw from center and to have 3 good offense players on court so that you're not limiting your potential with just 1 or 2. To have a third offense player adds another level or dimension of the game. So,
Okay, yeah. Then the next question is, if you look on your preparation for the Paralympic Games, and what do you think what you can reach at the Paralympic Games if you look on the preparation you made in the last months and the last years?
yeah, so this games is a little bit of an unexpected territory topic, just because you really aren't seeing a lot of the teams that you're going to be facing. Brazil hasn't gone to any tournaments, Turkey hasn't gone to any tournaments, and a lot of the rosters that were previously there for teams have changed a lot too. They don't have the same player combinations attending the games. And if we look at our preparations for the 2020 games in general, we're looking at a team that has had 5 people who have stayed steady throughout the 5 years of preparation. Our program has had 9 girls in our pool who have been there the entire 4 years putting in the work. And I think that will make a big difference. Like, the 6 players that we have are already, they've been training for years and years to be able to reach this goal, and not only just training for years, but also training on a daily basis in Fort Wayne and getting that one-on-one help with the coaching staff, with strength and conditioning, with psychology. So whatever it is that we are looking to achieve in Tokyo, when we achieve that and the work that we've put in will show when the time comes.
Yeah, if I hear that, I would mean, yeah, you have to win the gold medal. But yeah, as far as I said, you can't calculate it for 100%. And now the last topic, I know that's not about goalball in general and also not about sports, but I ask that everyone I talk to. That's because of at the Paralympic Games and also Olympic Games, you don't have any spectator. And for example, at the European Championship in soccer, you had 65,000 spectators in the semifinal and the final game. And also, if you look on the fight from Canelo in the US, that was in front of 73,000 spectators. And what's your opinion about that? If you look at first on maybe a double standard, and at second, yeah, the topic safety of the people. What's your opinion about these two points?
Yeah, so having spectators is really great. I've been to 2 games. There's been a ton of spectators, and they were wonderful. But in this case, with the pandemic, Japan is being especially careful because their population is not fully vaccinated. They're not hitting high numbers like some of the other nations with their vaccination rates. And so with the new Delta variant, they're trying to make sure that their population stays safe, even when all these international visitors come in. So from my perspective, I can see their point of view, why they want to limit the spectators, because in some of these events that you're talking about, a lot of the population of Europe or even the United States has a lot of their citizens vaccinated, or people who are attending. They're making sure that they have vaccination cards. But in the case of the Olympics or Paralympics, because they were first limiting it to only spectators from Japan, I can see where they're coming from. Are, for example, somebody who gets nervous in front of crowds, then not having spectators will be wonderful for you, because there's nobody to watch you, play, or nobody to watch you if you make a bad mood or move or something that's embarrassing. But if you're somebody who thrives in crowds, who plays better with the crowd cheering behind you, this could be seen as a disadvantage. So there's always a couple of ways to look at it. And in any case, the decision that was made by the IOC and the decision that will be made with the spectators on the 16th of August for the IPC will be one that will definitely be respected by all the players, because, we need to put our health first.
Okay, that was because of the health, but I didn't understand. How do you think about about a double standard? Do you think that is a double standard to allow spectators, for example, for the Canelo fight, or also the European Championship in soccer, and then at the Olympic and Paralympic Games not?
I don't think into it that far. I'm not really thinking whether it's a double standard or if it's not. I think it's organization by organization. So for the IOC, along with the Japanese government, made the decision that that was best for this particular tournament or this particular games that are happening, where maybe, a competition somewhere else has a different organization organizing it, and they say, you know what, it's cool to have some fans. Maybe we won't have full capacity of the stadium, but it would be great for our players to have fans, or, our organization to have it. So it has to be made on a case by case basis. And sometimes it's easier to say, oh, maybe that's a double standard, but it's more about the safety of everybody. And the Olympic Games has so many people from so many different places. It's bigger than maybe the European Soccer Championships, where you have some nations. Like the Olympics is, a lot more nations than that. And so you have to take that into account, that it's serving most of the world instead of just one portion of the world.
Okay, yeah. Then we are at the end. I don't have any question. And if there is something you want to tell in the end, then you can do it right now.
Oh, no, I don't have anything to add.
Okay. If there is nothing, yeah, you can't say nothing. And yeah, that's the end. And again, thanks for joining us. And I wish you and the whole USA women's goalball team all the best for the Paralympic Games, that you will reach what you want.
Yes, thank you. And thanks for having me.
Okay, that's the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'm looking forward to seeing you back in my next video. Until then, I wish you all the best, take care, and goodbye.